Daybreak for Discovery. The sun breaks on through the clouds here at the Kennedy Space Center, the eve of what's scheduled to be the new dawn for the U.S. space program. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting tonight from the Kennedy Space Center. Good evening. The wind is the news. Squalls and storm clouds gave way to sunshine here today. The shuttle now stands alone. The structure around it is gone, and that's a sign that NASA considers Discovery fit to fly. The one possible cloud on the horizon, not the rain, but the wind. The wind here, as you can see and no doubt sense, is pretty brisk. It's hovering right now around the margins of the new strict weather guidelines, actually rules for launch, the margin of safety. NASA doesn't want any strong crosswinds blowing in case the shuttle has to make an emergency landing. Now, our veteran CBS News space correspondent Bruce Hall joins us here tonight to bring us up to date on this and other developments. Bruce?
Dan, the NASA officials are really concerned about the winds, and that is because in the past there were weather guidelines. They were frequently violated. Now there are weather rules which cannot be waived.
This is expected to continue to move to the northeast and not...
Teams of Air Force meteorologists will be glued to their weather monitors all night.
We have a big concern with the winds. We're forecasting a crosswind of 11 knots, and the criteria is 12 knots. So anytime we get that close, we're certainly concerned with it.
If the winds don't stop Discovery's launch, last-minute glitches in the shuttle ground support system could. The equipment has not been used for a launch in 2.5 years, and NASA has had problems in virtually every practice countdown. Even something as small as a malfunctioning computer sensor could signal a halt.
We are going to look carefully, naturally, at anything that comes up in the count, and we're going to try to be smart about it, but we're not going to bend any rules.
The final decision to launch will rest on the shoulders of astronaut Bob Crippen. Following the Challenger accident, he was given the sole authority to give the order, go or no go.
I think it's a role that is needed. I've participated in the shuttle program for a long time, and somebody needs to do it.
Bob Crippen has flown on 4 shuttle flights, and the Discovery astronauts say he is the best man to make the launch decision. Dan?
Bruce, if anything, the wind seems to be picking up. What's the best bet for tomorrow morning?
Well, it's always impossible to say, but we should remember the past. We've had 25 shuttle flights. 15 of them have been delayed at the last moment, 7 of them for the weather.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Thanks, Bruce. The all-veteran 5-member crew of Discovery spent the day trying to relax here at the Kennedy Space Center and reviewing the flight plans. Frederick Houck, Richard Covey, John Lounge, George Nelson, and David Hilmers were all described today as elated and comfortable. CBS News correspondent Peter Van Sant reports tonight on some of the many Americans whose hopes and fears are riding with the brave crew of Discovery.
We have commit, and we have liftoff at 2:13.
The space program used to be a metaphor for America's achievements. We were the undisputed leaders, innovative, proud, and daring. We put men on the moon.
This has got to be one of the most proud moments of my life, I guarantee you.
But the Challenger disaster changed images of triumph to tragedy, as these students and teachers from Boulder, Colorado painfully experienced 32 months ago when the shuttle exploded before their eyes. This afternoon, those same students came back to Florida, hoping, along with the rest of the nation, to witness the rebirth of the U.S. space program.
I think it's important for me to go back because, you know, it was really a terrible experience, and I'd really like to see something really go up and be successful.
It's like it was an unfinished mission before, and now we get to see it to completion.
5 Girl Scouts from tiny Rupert, Idaho will also see the launch of Discovery. Through a town talent show and bake sales, the girls raised more than $6,000 for the trip. They arrived in Florida today, bringing with them a sense of wonder.
I'm going to be amazed that I'm there and just, I guess, kind of scared, kind of excited.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I mean, you'll probably never, ever go see it again, and it's going to be something that's going to, like, you can tell your grandkids.
Thousands more are coming by car and camper, all looking for a way to rediscover the confidence which was destroyed along with the Challenger.
I think the world, and particularly the citizens of the United States, are going to launch this launch with a feeling of apprehension, saying, my God, let's let it work. Let's not fail again.
That fear of failure can be heard in Concord, New Hampshire, the home of teacher Krista McAuliffe, who died aboard Challenger.
I'm a little scared, but I think it's about time.
I'm just nervous for whoever's going up with it. I hope they got, things straightened out is all I can really hope for.
And just across the bay from the launch pad at Challenger 7 Elementary School, there is that same fear that something could go wrong.
Well, I'm worried that people might die and the shuttle might blow up and nobody will return safely.
How about you, hon? What do you think?
I think about the Challenger disaster and wonder if the same thing's going to happen to the Discovery. We really don't know what's going to happen until it happens.
Tomorrow, the children of Challenger Elementary will be in their school play yard with their eyes and hopes focused on the sky.
I watched the other one fail, and to see this one be able to succeed and go up into space would give you a real feeling that we'd be back in again.
I mean, we've been down for a long time, and I guess we need to prove that we can really do it.
Prove it to the world and ourselves. Peter Van Sant, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
I'll be back with more from our less windy anchor position here at the Kennedy Space Center in a moment.
If they could see you now out on a fun ship cruise. You know, when you take a Carnival cruise, all your shipboard fun is included in the price. All your nighttime entertainment's included. All your food's included too. They'd never believe it if your friends could see you now. Take a 3, 4, or 7-day cruise on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world. Know the way I feel about you, oh, it still can make me blush. I like to spend some time listening to the hush of a morning full of promise, fresh as it can be. That's the good to the last drop feeling of Maxwell House, only Maxwell House. That's the good to the last drop feeling of Maxwell House and me. I need home cooking.
Well, try Swanson Homestyle Recipe number 6, a spicy beef lasagna with a blend of cottage, mozzarella, and ricotta cheeses you won't find anywhere else, unless your mother's Italian.
Sounds good.
She's not. I'm dead tired. So why am I wide awake?
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
Nitol helps you feel drowsy so you can get your Z's.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
This is, of course, a time of great excitement here all along the Florida Space Coast. Signs of the times all over wishing the shuttle and the crew well. The people here have a lot riding on tomorrow's space shot, but so do many Americans who want to see the space program's glory days come back again. Like the people of Canoga Park, California, who wanted to make their feelings known. And these kids in Arizona getting a feel for the shuttle at school in the 26-foot mock-up they built to explore and play around in. Correspondent David Dow reports feelings are running high today, too, for the people who live and work around Mission Control outside of Houston.
For the residents of America's space city, tomorrow's launch is no simple return to space. It is an act of deliverance.
I'm glad to see it going back up again. It's been too long. This area needs that, and the country needs it.
My fingers not crossed. Fingers crossed means that you're hoping. And it's not going to hope, it's going to work.
For the city of Houston, fighting back from hard times, Discovery is a symbol of economic deliverance.
The folks in Houston will probably be pushing as hard on the rear end of that shuttle as those main engines when they take off at the Cape.
But for thousands at Johnson Space Center, the deliverance is personal. Frank Hughes, who's trained every shuttle astronaut, once told his young son the spacecraft couldn't possibly blow up. The painful flashbacks after Challenger have faded.
These things have to fly, and every rocket that flies is carrying half the crowd at the center with it, vicariously. They'd all go down and climb on tomorrow if they give them a ticket.
5, 4.
For space families like John Creasy's, it's a chance to erase some old memories.
You don't want your kid to think the thing that you work on is something that goes up and, and has a problem.
Take it in, Frank! Take it in!
Michelle Brecky hopes her children will watch the launch and learn a lesson.
It's important for the kids to see a program, a team of people who have had a major difficulty, get back up on that horse and go for it again.
Their hopes ride with 5 prominent members of the NASA family, the Discovery astronauts. Their families, in turn, listen to the countdown, waiting behind the scenes with an anxious nation.
When I hold my breath, after it goes off, I won't be alone. I think there'll be a lot of people holding their breath for a few minutes there.
Including the widow of Challenger astronaut Michael Smith.
After all, aren't we flying with the crew of Discovery this launch? I will be.
Along with her neighbors in Space City. David Dow, CBS News, Houston.
Original Yoplait is the yogurt with nothing on the bottom.
Nothing on the bottom.
I have lumpy yogurt with fruit jammed on the bottom.
Nothing on the bottom.
Yoplait smooth and creamy with fruit right up to the top.
Nothing but natural. Nothing but no fat. Nothing on the bottom. And that's the end of that.
Original Yoplait.
Nothing on the bottom. And that's the end of that.
Oh, yeah.
When I hold this Olympic coin, I remember my student, Charlie, always running through the halls. I told him 1,000 times, stop running. I'm glad he never stopped. He's training for the Olympics.
Support our present and future athletes with the official U.S. Olympic commemorative coins in gold or silver from the U.S. Mint. Help America shine. Available at Montgomery Ward, participating coin dealers, and other fine stores.
I've got big news for prune lovers who also love cereal. Actually, it's kind of small news when you look at it. It's Sunsweet bite-sized pitted prunes. Try them on your cereal, and you'll agree Sunsweet bite-size is just the right size.
I need home cooking.
How about Swansea Homestyle recipe number 4? Swiss cheese plus 2 aged cheddars over pure semolina pasta. When your mom makes it, she calls it macaroni and cheese.
Okay, then I'll try it.
In Washington, the House passed a revised $300 billion Pentagon spending bill today. And gone are restrictions on the Star Wars program that caused President Reagan to veto an earlier version. This measure now goes to the Senate, where approval is expected. The president made good today on a threat to veto a bill that would limit imports of textiles, clothing, and shoes. Mr. Reagan called it, quote, protectionism at its worst. Congressional supporters insist that it is a job saver for Americans, and they'll attempt an override. Mr. Reagan signed another trade bill designed to lift virtually all trade barriers with Canada. Canadian Parliament approval still needed on that one. The issues were still pretty much in the background. The mud was still flying on the campaign trail today. Counterattacking what he sees as negative attacks on him, Michael Dukakis was trying to link George Bush to the so-called sleaze factor in the Reagan administration. Bush was portraying himself as a champion of the average taxpayer, and Dukakis as a friend of the IRS. Our coverage begins with Bob Schieffer and the Bush campaign.
Stand by George Bush.
With country singer Loretta Lynn serenading him in the lead bus, George Bush used a carefully orchestrated tour through small-town Illinois to argue his opponent's a far-out liberal, while he's a protector of traditional values like school prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I share your values.
Bush found a new target to attack today, the Dukakis plan to beef up the IRS to crack down on tax cheaters.
I'm not for a program that is going to increase IRS seizures and give the IRS more power. The IRS should work for us, for the people, not the other way around.
It was the first time Bush had ever said that, but he believes it underscores the traditional values he stresses, that Americans will pay their taxes because they're honest. These Americans just loved him. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Ottawa.
In Greensburg, Pennsylvania, where they liked his debate performance so much they named a street after him, Dukakis launched a scathing attack on George Bush's proposal for individual savings accounts, which would save average Americans, Dukakis said, $20 a year.
He says it will make it possible for us to afford a home. $20. Pay for college. $20.
Dukakis also released what he called a hall of shame, Reagan-Bush appointees who'd had legal or ethical problems.
He may be satisfied with letting Japan make the cars while his former colleagues make the license plates.
Dukakis said he would tighten controls on lobbying by former government employees. Later in New York, Dukakis met with Soviet Foreign Minister Edward Shevardnadze. Dukakis called it constructive, Shevardnadze called it profound. Asked whom he wanted to be president, Shevardnadze said he'd announce that after the election. Bruce Morton, CBS News, New York.
1 week before their scheduled vice presidential debate, Lloyd Bentsen today questioned again Dan Quayle's fitness for office. Bentsen said that if the Republicans win, he would, quote, pray for the good health of George Bush every night. Quayle aimed his salvos at Michael Dukakis, portraying Dukakis as an extremist who favors radical cuts in the U.S. defense budget. As the Reagan presidency winds down, another top aide is making an early exit. James Miller resigned today as the president's budget director and chief deficit fighter. Miller will be succeeded by his deputy, Joseph Wright, Oklahoma Joe Wright, subject to Senate approval. Tawana Brawley, the teenager from upstate New York who says she was sexually assaulted by as many as 6 men last year, today spoke publicly about the case for the first time. Appearing in Newark, New Jersey, Brawley responded to a grand jury report obtained by the New York Times, which alleged that Brawley's story was a hoax.
I'm not a liar and I'm not crazy. I simply just want justice, and then I want to be left alone. I have not deceived my family, my advisors, and most of all, my people.
The official grand jury report on the Brawley case is expected to be made public within weeks.
Honey, should we take the other car?
I'd rather not. Ford Escort now offers an attractive new design, plus fuel injection and a 660 powertrain warranty. In fact, the redesigned Ford Escort may make your other car seem considerably less attractive.
Honey, aren't we ever going to take the other car?
Nope. The world's best-selling car just keeps looking better all the time.
Now get a $500 cash bonus on 88.5 Ford Escorts.
I used to put in 5-6 hours of TV a day. Now I can't get near it. My parents always have it. You see, Stanley's giving away these home improvement videotapes when you buy a Stanley tool. So now they're doing a few projects in every room in the house. So what am I supposed to do now?
You can mow the lawn,
clean your room,
read a book,
get a job.
Get a job, yeah.
Get a free home time video. Win a Chevy truck, a $20,000 home improvement, and $1,000 worth of Stanley tools in the Stanley Home Improvement Challenge.
Ask every American the meaning of success, and you won't hear the same answer twice. Whatever your idea of succeeding, Citicorp and Citibank can help. With Citibank MasterCard and Visa cards, Citicorp Savings, Diners Club, and Citicorp Mortgage. We also serve millions of customers in every major marketplace worldwide. Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive.
Moscow pulled a surprise today, and it could be the beginning of a whole new wave of political change. Foreign Minister Edward Shevardnadze was abruptly called home from the UN to attend a meeting of the Kremlin's top leaders tomorrow. Soviet officials said the meeting will shake up the political structure of the country, following through on reforms wanted by Mikhail Gorbachev feeling that they aren't moving nearly fast enough. The sudden announcement also stood up the UN General Assembly meeting in New York. Wyatt Andrews tries to put all this in some perspective.
Shevardnadze's recall to Moscow is extraordinary because he clearly had other things to do. While the Soviet foreign minister kept today's appointment with Michael Dukakis, he was forced to cancel tomorrow's meeting with Israel's foreign minister Shimon Peres, along with 3 full days of meetings. The order also caught Shevardnadze in the middle of a diplomatic attack against Pakistan's support of the Afghan rebels. What is so important? Nothing less than a shakeup of the Soviet Communist Party.
So the plenum will be devoted to reorganization of party apparatus, including the Central Committee itself.
Could that shakeup include Gorbachev himself? Experts say probably not. But speculation is that Gorbachev is removing a threat to his power, purging the scores of Central Committee members who have been fired from their government jobs, but who still have voting rights in the Communist Party. Examples include former Defense Minister Sergei Sokolov, who lost his job when the West German pilot Matthias Rust landed on Red Square, but who could still conceivably threaten Gorbachev from the inside. The Soviets tried to downplay the Moscow plenum, saying it had long been expected, but no one knew the date. Even so, no one doubts that something big is happening in Moscow. Shevardnadze had too much going here at the UN for the Moscow plenum to be just another meeting. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News at the United Nations.
The Soviet news agency said today that rebels in Afghanistan fired 20 rockets into the capital city of Kabul. One exploded near a bus stop, killing 35 people, wounding more than 150. It was described as the deadliest rebel attack to date in the Afghan capital. Yesterday, Foreign Minister Shevardnadze said Soviet troops have temporarily, at least, paused in their withdrawal from Afghanistan, and he complained that the continued flow of arms to the rebels violates the UN ceasefire agreement. The Soviet Union and China took another step toward restoring their friendship today. The Chinese foreign minister agreed to come to Moscow for talks later this year. That will be the highest level visit since the two communist giants split in the 1960s.
If you used to take capsules, the makers of Tylenol have just come up with something better. New extra-strength Tylenol gel caps. They're gelatin-coated, and compared to capsules, gel caps are 33% smaller, with all that extra-strength pain relief concentrated into a solid center under a smooth gelatin coating. So gel caps are actually easier to swallow. If you used to take capsules, try new extra-strength Tylenol gel caps. It's not a capsule, it's better.
Do you get more than you want from your high-fiber cereal, like sodium and added sugar? Get Fiber One. It has more fiber and it's low in sodium and has no added sugar. Get more of the fiber your body needs and less of the stuff it doesn't. Fiber One.
Make it easy on yourself.
Because you've got places to go and things to do. Easy Off makes greasy cleanups easy on ovens, broilers, frying pans, glass casseroles, and lots more.
Make it easy on yourself.
With original heavy-duty Easy Off oven cleaner. And to remove grease and splatters from your microwave, try Easy Off microwave oven cleaner. It's as advanced as your microwave.
Now for indigestion, gas, introducing new Extra Strength Malox Plus. It neutralizes more than any leading antacid and dissolves gas. Nobody does as much as new Extra Strength Malox Plus.
The final hours before liftoff. Here at Launchpad 39B, the towering shuttle Discovery. Gleaming metal and technology. A test of the mettle of the men and women of NASA. You can feel the tension and the hope all around here. NASA, the can-do agency that worked, is out to prove that it still does after Challenger. Can do it safely. So tomorrow's scheduled liftoff is a new beginning, a product of technology, faith, change, to get things right again, to fly again.
Commander Rick Houck leading his group out.
Discovery Commander Rick Houck, tough, a man certain of himself and, no question about it, in charge, says he was forced to change after Challenger.
I have to admit, prior to the Challenger accident, I placed too much faith in the way we were doing business. And I made some assumptions in working towards some of my flights. And I'm less likely to assume. I'm more likely now to ask pointed questions. I think as an agency, we felt a little bit immune to having things go wrong.
And liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
Things, of course, couldn't have gone more wrong that cold January morning 32 months ago. But to the space professionals, to the men and women who rode atop these giant rockets and sped like human thunderbolts into the heavens, the danger always was very real. Perhaps, they say, it wasn't just the space agency that was too confident.
The public probably simply does not understand the complexity of these gigantic machines. They are very large, they are extraordinarily powerful. At the same time, they're very fragile. The The dividing line between combustion and explosion is a very thin line in these rockets.
Perhaps few people understand that thin line as well as these workers. They are the ones who build and assemble the giant external tank at NASA's Michoud facility outside New Orleans. Containing more than 500,000 gallons of fuel, the external tank holds the shuttle's primary energy supply for its trip into orbit. There have been changes here, too. Procedures already tight, tightened further. And workers like Mitch McAllister, in charge of moving these behemoths around the factory, know just what is on the line when liftoff comes.
I will have nervousness, and I'll have most probably beads of sweat about the size of a $50, because I've met all the astronauts. And I feel for them that they're going to be riding on our external tank.
To Bethel Pierce, a production inspector in charge of safety and quality, Discovery couldn't be in better hands.
I have this hands-on experience with what I do with the tank itself. I know how it's built. I can't make it fly, but I do know how it's built from one end to the other one. And I know that it's good.
Everything is very optimistic to me. And I look for the future. Just like getting out of bed in the morning. I look for the future for a bright day.
Not everyone is as sanguine as Bethel Pierce or Mitch McAllister. Former Morton Thiokol engineer Roger Beaujolais, who months before the Challenger accident forecast a catastrophe if the O-rings on the solid rocket boosters weren't changed somehow, says the safety and design changes on Discovery haven't gone far enough. He may be one of the few Americans to miss the launch.
I couldn't watch another disaster occur, and the way I feel about the redesign and the way that things are culminating towards an effort to launch, my own personal feeling is it's probably a flip of the coin.
Beaujolais' billion-dollar lawsuit against Morton Thiokol has been dismissed, but it would be wrong to dismiss his point of view entirely. He is a vivid reminder that the space agency, before it regains public confidence, has to live down a sad past. For Rick Houck and his crew, they know they will have their own test of confidence.
Maybe 2 minutes or 4 minutes before liftoff, we'll have some fleeting thoughts of the Challenger accident. And I'll admit that probably when we get the call from Houston, go at throttle up, which is a call that was the last call that Challenger heard, that'll bring back a picture, I think. But a very transitory one, and we'll be back to business.
And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting from the Kennedy Space Center. Our coverage of Discovery begins tomorrow morning with the CBS Morning News, CBS This Morning, and then our special live coverage of the launch beginning at 9:30 Eastern Time. Until then, see you tomorrow.
While the Today Show is off the air for Olympic coverage, watch CBS This Morning with Kathleen Sullivan and Harry Smith. You change the channel, we'll change your day.
We'll see you tomorrow.
This is CBS.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brenda Blackman.
And I'm Chris Clark. Next on Eyewitness News, vice presidential politics comes to Nashville with the arrival of Senator Lloyd Bentsen. We'll talk with him live from the campaign trail.
Metro comes to the aid of residents living in condemned housing, forced from their homes by a court order. And as the countdown begins for the first shuttle flight since Challenger, a report on the painstaking effort to get Discovery off the ground.
Those stories and a close call at Nashville International Airport next on Eyewitness News.